Good morning. What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, when I was little, I kind of wanted to be a caterpillar, then a steam engine, and then it kind of went right the way up to marine biologist. And caterpillar to marine biologist is a pretty big scope. But when you're little, this is a fun question to answer. You know, we can dream big and wide. And then we get older, the question becomes more terrifying and daunting and scary. And if we're not careful, we end up taking those big, wide dreams and making them very small and narrow. Why? Because, we're suddenly faced with the reality of these decisions. What we want to be and what we want to do with our lives isn't about just putting on a doctor's outfit anymore. Now it's about picking your education and your college. It's about what university do I go to? Tuition payments, student loans, making our parents and the people we respect proud of us, being able to pay our rent and our bills, buying a house, living comfortably.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Now, when we're little, we can answer that grow up question. And if we're not happy with it, we find a flaw. Oh well, a few minutes later, we change our minds and we skip away in some blissful innocence. But when we're in those later years of school and college, we have to really focus and think with our minds, what do I want to do? Because if we're not careful, certain choices can have consequences. But what if we do choose wrong? What if we pick the wrong college or thing to study on? We can't just skip away from those choices. Making these big life defining choices can be daunting and scary. That doesn't mean we can't face them with some bravery. We need to understand that taking risks is part of life. We want life to be safe, easy, cushy, and comfy. We want to know the outcome. We want to feel like everything's going to work out absolutely fine and we're going to come out on top. But we can't know that with everything, can we? Now, that might not make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, but it's true. There are risks that we do have to take, and risks, they don't have to be scary. They can be something, that we can actually use to make us grow stronger in our faith. We can pray over them. We can talk to people. We can have other people pray into them for us. I mean, a great example was when I lived in Swindon, some 300 miles from here. I only had to think about the big risk of leaving everything, all my friends, family, everything I know, back in Swindon and starting a brand new life up in the northeast. Now, I had my sister up here, I had my girlfriend, who's now my wife, up here, and those were great things to pull me up. And I knew that when I moved up here, there would be, opportunities for me to extend my youth work. And boy, am I glad I took that risk. I prayed over it, and I knew God was saying, your time in Swindon is done. I need you up in Newcastle. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had all the training, the experience. I wouldn't have had any of it with my youth work. And I wouldn't have known you guys. It was a big risk, but I calculated it. I trusted in God. And boy, am I glad I did. Realise that failure isn't final. Now, through years 7 to 11, I was not the most academic. My assignments and my courseworks rarely made it above a C plus. And when you really put your heart and soul into something that you care about, for it to bomb, it's not at the top of anyone's to-do list. None of us wake up in the morning and say, hey, do you know what sounds like fun today? Failing. No, failure isn't something that anybody wants, but fearing it can really cause some problems. And too often, if we think that we're going to fail at something, we won't even try. But failing isn't the worst thing that could happen to you. The worst thing is that you never actually try anything because you're just so gripped with this fear that you're going to fail. Now, I'm not saying be cool with failing and therefore don't give it all you've got. What I'm saying is don't miss out on something that could be really good for you just because you have a fear of this risk failing. Now, people fail left, right, and centre, and people in the Bible failed. I mean, King David, he sinned. Paul has an awful history where he was Saul, where he was persecuting Christians. Peter denied Christ 3 times before they crucify him. Failure can actually be really beneficial, because if we learn where we failed, why we failed, an attempt, you can actually learn. And if you learn something from it, have you actually failed at all? Know where you're going. You can't make forward progress in the right direction without knowing what that direction is. Now, I knew I had to focus on youth work, but I didn't know if God was calling me to be working in a church or a council. I didn't know if he wanted me to be in a school, as a teacher, as an assistant. I got no idea. I just knew I had to focus on youth. Now, we need to find that focus, because we can't just wander around aimlessly hoping for the best. Where does God want you to be? Have you asked that? Are you even focused on God? Because, we need to be. We need to have that focus on him. Now, if you don't know what that way is yet, just keep following him. We don't know all the big answers to life's defining questions when we want them. And we don't go around making up our own answers either, just because it suits us and it puts God on the back seat. We need to focus on being obedient to God every single day. He's got a plan for you, not just for your whole life, but for today, for the next hour. He's got it all planned out for you. And working God into those daily plans will really help you discover him more and what he wants of you more. Now, growing up can be scary. The pressure and the weight of all of these big choices that come our way can make us feel, defeated and deflated before we even start. Don't let fear make the choices for you. You were made perfectly and beautifully by a very intentional and strategic God, and he made you for a purpose. And we need to keep devoting our lives to him, so that purpose that he made for us can be seen. We need to be intentional in our choices. We need to learn from our mistakes so that we're not doomed to repeat them. And we need to walk with God every day, because you were made perfectly, and we need to choose to follow him, not to follow the scary stuff, but to follow him. That's just something for you to think about whilst you have your breakfast. So this week's worship song is called This Is a Move. It's by Housefires again. It's got a great chorus. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. How about that? We're here for him, so just get him to come and do what he needs to do in your life. Play this song first thing in the morning. Give it all up to him, and I guarantee you God will stay strong with you for the whole day. I pray you have a great week, a blessed week, and I just pray that whatever is holding you down, whatever fear is holding you back, will be released, and that you can have not just a great day, but a great week with God, and that anyone that you meet will just feel his presence radiating off you. Pray this in your glorious name, God. Amen. Have a great one. Take care. See you soon.